Most of the time, people forgive others because they choose to. No one saw this coming. But Jonathan Lamb just broke years of silence by sharing the truth about how Marcus Lamb died. For years, the official story was the only one told. But now, shocking new facts have come to light that could change everything. What was he trying to hide, and why did he choose this moment to reveal it? As word spreads, everyone looks at Joni Lamb. How did she feel right away? What did she feel? Was she shocked, mad, or something else? Once upon a time, the Lamb family was united in their religion. These days, there is a lot of talk about them, and Marcus Lamb's legacy is in question. The world now knows the truth, but are people ready to hear it? At 4 a.m. this morning, the CEO and founder of Daystar, the person I love, died. For a long time, people thought Marcus Lamb's death was sad, but not unusual. Over time, though, people have begun to talk about something much scarier. But was there more to his death than what people heard? Why is the truth only now being told, if that's the case? People who watched Daystar TV and the Lamb family were shocked by what Jonathan Lamb said not long ago. What was he really trying to hide? Things are even stranger now that he spoke out of the blue. He couldn't keep his secret any longer. Or was he forced to say something that important people like to keep secret? One of the biggest mysteries is when Marcus Lamb died. They said it had something to do with problems from COVID-19, but some people don't believe them because of how the information was spread. Was he really in worse shape than everyone thought? Some ideas say that people worked hard behind closed doors to control the story and make it more accepted. There's also the matter of power. Marcus Lamb wasn't just a speaker. He ran a business, was a leader, and had a strong voice in faith-based media. Was there more going on than just his death? Some people think the network had bigger problems, while others think something from outside the network may have caused it. He spoke out and had a lot of fans, so maybe people wanted to hurt him. What did Joni Lamb say? Anyway, people who paid close attention saw that she was in charge of what she said in public. But was there something else going on? When Jonathan Lamb spoke out, people who were there said that everything changed. Did she not expect this information to come out, or did she know it would? Behind her silence, there could be something even bigger going on. There are still a lot of questions about this story, so it's not over. It's not all there is to the story. As more details come to light, the real reason Marcus Lamb died may be much stranger than anyone thought. I took care of Marcus on my last night with him in the hospital. She looked at me in this dark room around 3 a.m. She stated, "Look what you have done to this family." I texted her, "I can't do this anymore." I told God, "You feel the pain of my heart. You're ruining this family." And I said, "I know, my God, you're protecting me. You'll get me out of here." It was my last night. He doesn't make it the next day. Marcus Lamb's trip was different from all the others. He was a small speaker at first, but he grew to be one of the most important in his time. A lot of people couldn't have guessed how much he changed Christian radio and TV today, but behind the public image of faith, family, and success was a story of want, suffering, and a marriage that would become the most important part of his legacy. Lamb was born in Georgia in 1957. He had a strong faith when he was young. He became a preacher when he was young and was known right away as a great speaker. He was well known by the time he was in his 20s. He went all over the country as a preacher and gave strong talks that held people's attention. In 1982, things were different. He met Joni. She was not just another Christian. She had the same goals, drive, and unwavering commitment to spreading the word as him. They got along right away and knew they were meant to be together forever. In 1984, they got married. Just two people getting to know each other quickly changed into a team that would change the world of Christian media. We're going to share our hearts with you today, which makes this show extra special. I want to start by saying that you and I are strong, and I think our marriage is better now than it has ever been. You are such an angel that I love you very much. I really love you, but I have something to say. We had a hard time getting married a few years ago. When I learned that he was seeing someone, that relationship had turned into something bad. Marcus and Joni worked together to start Daystar Television Network. From a small start, it has grown into one of the world's largest Christian TV networks. While other televangelists just built groups, Lamb knew how powerful media was and how it could reach millions of people outside of church walls. Together with Joni, they built a stage where their message of faith and wealth could be heard by people all over the world. Their marriage was more than just a love story. It was what kept Daystar together. Nicole Marcus was married to Joni Marcus and worked with him as a co-host and business partner. On screen, they got along so well that it was hard to deny. They gave the impression of being strong and together. They didn't just seem to teach about their faith, it looked like they lived it too. Over the years, they had some tough times that tested both their faith and their marriage. In 2010, Marcus told everyone that he had been having an affair. This caused a scandal that put everything they had worked for at risk. The news shocked their fans and upended the image they had worked so hard to build. When things got hard, Marcus and Joni didn't give up. Instead, they did something strange. They faced the problem head on. They told their church about the lie and their decision to fight for their marriage. People saw them getting back together in public as proof that God can fix things. Some people saw it as a story that showed how people can change. Some people were interested in what had really happened behind closed doors. Daystar kept growing, and Marcus stayed a big name in televangelism. Even though there was trouble, a lot of people outside of church got something from him. A lot of the time, he spoke out against what most people thought about politics and social changes. They were both fans and harsh judges of him because he was so brave. He became controversial, but he was also very strong. After that, everything changed. People found out that Marcus Lamb had died in 2021. On paper, COVID-19 was said to have problems, but as time went on, rumors started to spread. Was there more to his death than what the news said? Was his effect really what it seemed to be, or were there things that had been kept secret that were now being revealed? Mark and Joni had built a kingdom for many years. Now that Marcus was gone, what would happen to it? Joni, who is now in charge of Daystar, thinks a lot about the network's past and its future. Her role has never been more important, and what she does now will determine whether the power they built together stays together or whether their marriage finally falls apart. Every 6 months, they hold a telethon. I think they call that room with phones and booze Heart for the World. Several hundred people work there all day and only answer the phones. The people who took calls during the ton were in charge of praying. There were times when so many people called to give that everyone in the company had to be ready with their phones. So this was one of those times. So there were a lot of calls, and lo and behold, my phone rang. It was this sweet little old lady who answered when I did. Her tears are coming out. She tells me she owes everything and has no money. She does have a small amount left on her credit card, though, and she plans to give it to Daystar because someone on the show said that if you give $1,000, 0 cents today, God will give you $10,000, 0 cents back. I'm not sure how to explain how awful I felt at that time. That was the first time I stopped and asked myself, do I want to be a part of this? I ran that card number because something felt very, very wrong. For years, people in the world of Christian TV looked up to the Lamb family as an example of family, faith, and love. Marcus and Joni Lamb built Daystar from the ground up. They showed that they were a strong couple with a shared goal to get the word out. But there was a much darker truth coming out behind the well-polished smiles on TV, the carefully planned lectures, and the public displays of love. This was something Jonathan Lamb had been trying to avoid for years. Jonathan thought his dad was a great guy when he was a kid. He was a preacher who lived by his words, and he seemed to keep the family together, even though it was getting harder and harder to run an empire. He could see things better as he aged, though. Those stories that he used to think were silly were now getting to him. He saw Joni at work and heard her conversations with Marcus when they were alone. He had a strong but gentle grip on him. One thing should always be on your mind when you think about Daystar's future. It's about the cloud of God. The cloud of God means that God is strong and present. You must let the Holy Spirit direct everything you do, think, and choose if you want the gift to stay on your life, your marriage, your family, and Daystar. It all began with small things. Jonathan could hear his mother talking in place of his dad and not taking his thoughts into account in meetings. This affected every move that was made. Marcus had no choice but to do what she said. It was smart of her to always follow him around in public while being in charge when they were alone. Early on, there were signs that the marriage was weak, but they were always hidden with fake smiles and public claims of love. Jonathan thought back to the fights and the late nights when Marcus was too tired to leave his office and couldn't or wouldn't fight back. He cared about his wife, but that love was stopping him. They could hang out with certain people, put their money in certain places, and even learn how to run the network from Joni. It was more like a country, and Joni was really in charge of it. But Jonathan did not trust his mother again after the night he learned she had lied to him. People had always said that Joni wasn't really the devoted wife she said she was. Jonathan first thought they were just stories. Even though Marcus's mom was bossy and smart, she would never betray him, would she? One night, everything changed. To get a paper for the network, Jonathan went to see his mom at work. He didn't want to find anything that would make her look guilty. There was nothing strange about him. But everything fell apart when he picked up her phone, which she had forgotten to lock and left on her desk. It was a message from a man he had seen on the network for many years. It was always too close for that man to his mother and too much of their business. It was a short letter, but it had everything Jonathan had been trying to keep from everyone for a long time. She told him, "I miss you. When will I see you again?" It wasn't just a night out. Something more important was going on here. Jonathan told his mom about it that very night. He was ready to be turned down, told sorry, or even cry tears of sadness. But Joni didn't break. She didn't even move. He remembered those words for years. "You don't understand. I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do, not I'm sorry or I made a mistake. I knew what I had to do. Before you do that, get your letter from Daystar telling you that's what's going on. Are you with me? Do you understand? You don't have to work today, so go home tomorrow and do what you want until 3 o'clock. Read it again in Arnold's office until you're sure you want to sign it. We have to follow it too. If you sign it, you are no longer an officer at Daystar or on the board if you don't sign it." Marcus saw it but didn't hear it. Jonathan could never bring himself to tell him. He would have died if he knew the truth because he had already seen how much of his father's spirit Joni had taken. Instead, Jonathan could only watch as his mother continued to be the perfect wife. The devoted woman who stood next to Marcus, held his hand and wiped away his fake tears whenever the cameras were rolling. When Marcus got sick, he could have finally run away. Thank you so much, Lord, for making Jonathan a part of my life, Joan's life, and each of our lives. He's been a wonderful kid and a good Christian young man. You took care of him, kept him safe, and led him well. Thanks, Lord. Thank you for sending Susie to him. Lord, look at these 2 cute grandchildren. Also, Lord, I know that Jonathan will have a great life. Every day I pray that your Holy Spirit will lead him. Teach him how to learn by watching and listening. Help him understand the Lord better. Let his relationships with you, Susie, and his kids be strong. Lord, and most of all, Lord, with his children. Be sure you want it. Hey, Jesus, thanks a lot. Being sick seemed like it would be easy to deal with at first, just another problem to fix. But as the weeks went by, Jonathan became suspicious. Everything that Joni did and how she planned to take care of his dad seemed like it was all planned. Joni was the first person to take care of Marcus's story when things got worse. She made sure that the public only heard what she wanted them to hear. He wasn't seen again after that. His death should have been a sad time for the whole family. Be sad together. Joni didn't wait to change the past, though. She wrote all the news releases and statements. She also made sure that Marcus's memory and her part in it were kept clean. She changed the story to hide all the flaws, weak spots, and other signs that their marriage had not been perfect, which made Jonathan very angry. We only did that one thing. I really felt that the Lord told me to stay strong in the part that God had given me and not leave, even though I had been through a lot of bad things. We don't want anyone to know where Susie and I are because our home doesn't feel safe. Know this, all the proof has been given to more than just Julie Roy. These stories will be in the news soon. They should be going over them this afternoon. We had no idea this was going to be our life. We asked God for months to go in a different direction, but we have to do what he says. When he says, you know what, you have to speak, gets harder. What he says, I'm calling you to do this, we have to do. He has led us through all the hard times and brought us so much peace. God always sees the bigger picture, even when things look bad and crazy. That's why I want to help you. We can count on him. If we follow his rules, do the right thing, and tell the truth, he will, I'm sure. Still, we need your help because the trip has been tough. Thanks for that. For a long time, it has really been painful and awful. We have done what God told us to do, even though it hasn't been easy. Before Marcus was buried, Joni was already getting a better handle on Daystar. This made her stronger and made her the new face of the network. She now had his father's name, his father's company, and his father's followers. Jonathan didn't like that about her. She killed his dad a long time before he died. She made up a lie that Marcus believed all the way to the end. She was now queen of Daystar, but she didn't have a king to rule her. The country is based on lies. But Jonathan knew what was really going on. The world would see Joni for who she really was one day, no matter how well she hid her past or changed the story.